Game 3, Western Conference Finals. Matchup tonight between Dallas Mavericks and Minnesota Timberwolves. Tip-off is set for tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern Time in Dallas. This has been a crazy series, not only for Dallas and the Timberwolves, but the Pacers and Boston Celtics as well. We're going to talk about the entire full game analysis and predictions coming from me. We're going to talk about a side of player props for tonight's game. We're also going to go over a recap from our last bets and our last games on throughout this series, and also the Boston Celtics and Indiana Pacers series. Guys, if you'll smash me a like on this video, I really appreciate it. Throw a subscribe, tap the bell. I appreciate it. If you guys want this knowledge and information to keep coming for you every single day, I've been doing a lot of games of the NBA playoffs, so I'm trying to get you guys as much information and analysis as possible. And so, I hope you appreciate the videos. I know some of you guys have been hating in the comments, and I don't have to do these videos. I can continue to drop my best bets for my VIP guys, who obviously appreciate, because we were on a 4-0 run on our last 4 best bet super hammers that I send out to my VIP clients. And let's talk about it, man. First, on our run here, I had game 1 Mavericks plus 4.5 on the spread, sent out to my VIP clients, cashed. They won game 1. They didn't even need the cover. I also had a side bet on Luka Doncic to score the first point. That cashed as well. Throughout the rest of the games, now to go 4-0. The next game I had Celtics -9. Right? They ended up blowing out the Pacers at home in the second game. Then I had Timberwolves first half winner in game 2. They ended up winning in the first half and then blowing an 18-point lead. And although in the video a lot of you are upset because you made it I said, hey, Timberwolves should win the game, and hey, Timberwolves should have won the game. We're going to talk about it, but they ended up blowing an 18-point lead. I sent out the play to my VIP clients, and obviously I'm not going to say, hey, Timberwolves first half, because then my VIP clients would fucking hate me. But nonetheless, I gave it away to my VIP. And then I said Pacers first half spread plus 3.5, which means they have to win in the first half or cover, which means they can't lose by more than 3.5 points. And we smashed that one as well. So I'm on a 4-0 run on my last 4 banger bets for my VIP clients. Every single one has hit. So if you're leaving comments, bro, make sure that you know what I'm actually sending out. I know sometimes I give you a full analysis in this video, and although the Pacers should have won last night, they ended up blowing another 18-point lead. Timberwolves should have won in game 2. They ended up blowing an 18-point lead. And that's why, guys, I really do think that the league and the association and the refs and everything's fucking rigged. Everything's scripted. It's very clear if you watch these last 2 games in the series. The game 2 with the Wolves and the Mavs, and game 3 last night between the Pacers and the Celtics. And I want you to take a look at this real quick as well. I mean, if this doesn't look suspect to you, this is from game 2. As you can see, the Mavericks and the Wolves. The Wolves had an 18-point lead going into halftime. Like I said, we won this bet by saying Timberwolves first half, and we won it by a large margin, my VIP clients. Then, as you can see, the Mavericks come back to win with Luka's game-winning 3-point shot at the buzzer. I mean, if he misses that shot, the Wolves still win the game. So the Wolves should have won that game. So my video was pretty much spot on. Now, you can't call the fact that they blow an 18-point lead, but I hope you guys do appreciate these videos, or else I'll just stop fucking doing them. You know what I mean? Because it pisses me off to study hours and then to have people still not appreciative in the comments, man. And then you can see this right here. And this is why I think it's all fake. Look at this fucking big fucking Al Horford, bro. 18-point comeback. You know, Pacers could easily be up 2-1 in the series right now, which is pretty crazy. But they're not. Probably because Vegas, right? Celtics were minus 500 or 600 or some bullshit number. You put in $100, you win $1 on them to win, right? So the series. So I do think that has a large impact in it as well. Nobody, if you had money on the Pacers to win the series, you would have made a sizable amount of money. So I don't think that the NBA wants the Pacers to come out on top. That's pretty damn clear. Um, and then you'll see this going into game 3 tonight, and then I'm going to tell you about the game, and then I'm going to tell you about some player props that I like. Now, teams up 2-0 after starting on the road are 16-0 in the conference finals, and then they say, not great news if you're holding a Wolves ticket. This is all propaganda, guys. This is propaganda from the media. As you can see, it's coming from a BR betting official account, and this is all propaganda to let you lose tonight. And we're going to talk about it. We always usually fade the public. We know that if the public wins every time, then Vegas and the elite don't make money. They lose money. And there's nothing that the elite want more than it's nothing. The elite do not want the public to take their money. I promise you that pisses them off more than anything. So with that being said, before we get into today's analysis, if you do want my best VIP bets, the bets that we are 4-0 in our last 4 plays, it's pretty cheap, man. It's affordable. I understand that we're looking to make money and flip money into like trading and stocks. So I make it pretty cheap for a reason. And if you use code playoffs, you can get 20% off any of these packages. Try it out for a week, man. I would definitely do more than a day, because if we don't hit for a day, I can guarantee you that we're going to hit for the week. The guys that came in on the week pass, right, last week, they're up 4-0 on the last 4 nights. So, you know, it's pretty good value for $50. And if you use code playoffs, you're only getting it for like $30 or something like that. So pretty good with that, man, I would have to say. Nonetheless, I'm going to give you a ton of free value in today's video right here on YouTube. Dallas is up. Dallas is up 2-0 in the series, and if they win game 3, this series is over. No team in the history of the NBA has ever come back from a 3-0 series deficit. Now, we could see history be made with Anthony Edwards, but I'll also say this. Did you know that an NBA playoff game can bring as much as $4 million in ticket sales alone and up to $40 million in ad revenue per game? This tells me one thing. The NBA, and I've said this, that's why there were so many forced Game 7s in the last series of the last round of the playoffs. You saw Nuggets Wolves Game 7. You saw Pacers and Knicks Game 7. You should have saw OKC and Dallas Game 7, right? It's because they're making millions and millions of dollars in ticket sales, ad revenue, commercials, the more hype, the more drama from every single NBA game that is being played. So they want to extend the series. Right now, if Dallas goes up 3-0 and Boston is up 3-0, they're just missing out on millions and millions of dollars. And also, it's not as interesting. You got to think, like, the headlines aren't as great if Boston just sweeps the Pacers, man. It's just boring. And so you got to take all this into consideration. Am I a conspiracy theorist? Maybe. Am I also just being real? And, like, how many games can the Wolves fucking lose in a row? You know what I mean? I don't know, bro. They lose 3 in a row. That's kind of shitty. But I think Wolves bounce back here, and I'll explain to you my rationale. Dallas has won both games so far, right? They're up 2-0. But did you know Minnesota has had the biggest lead in both of those games and still choked? The Wolves have shot awful from the field. Both Karl Anthony Towns and Anthony Edwards haven't done much, and they've still had the biggest lead in both games. So imagine if Cat and Edwards actually did something today in Game 3. It would be a night and change difference. The Wolves had a 9-point lead in Game 1, and Dallas never led by more than 8 points. Dallas ended up winning Game 1 by 3 points. In Game 2, the Wolves had an 18-point lead on Friday night. Dallas never led by more than 3 points, and they still won the game by 1 point at the buzzer. Unreal, right? It's pretty unreal. And then you saw what happened with the Pacers in Game 1, sending it to overtime, all the foul shit, the Rick Carlisle FanDuel account, end up losing Game 1, got smoked in Game 2, and then ended up choking an 18-point lead at home in Game 3. Pretty unbelievable if you're the Pacers. Let's see what the public are up to today, guys. Let's check it out here, because this is a very important thing. As you can see, this is the money line for today. So about even amount of money. Actually, more money is on Dallas tonight which is funny because I say it all the time. Why is all the money on Dallas tonight? Because Dallas is one. This is the public's thinking, right? Dallas has won 2 games in a row now, and they're at home tonight. And so a majority of the money is on Dallas tonight. Big mistake. Rug pull, Vegas sweeps. 51% of the money, the people that bet on Dallas are getting railed tonight, as well as the spread. So it's plus minus 2.5 points tonight. So what that means is if you do Minnesota plus 2.5, Minnesota have to win the game or they can't lose by more than 2.5 points. Dallas, if you lock them at minus 2.5, that means they have to win the game by more than 2.5 points for you to cash. And here's the over/under. We're going to talk about the over/under. It hasn't really changed much from game 1 and 2. It's been at like 207, 207.5. Both of game 1s went over the totals. So yeah, and I'm not trying to fade the total. I don't really like to bet on the totals that much just because it's a sweat fest the entire game, and it really pisses me off when I like say an under and then they like start coming out ripping shots like the Pacers. But yeah, game 1 and 2, I'd say they went over the projected total. Tonight the odds makers have the line around 207.5. Game 1 landed at 213 points. Game 2 landed at 217 points. Right. We looked at the spread a little bit, and the Wolves were about a 4.5 point favorite in game 1 and 2 at home. Now they're a 2.5 point underdog in game 3 in Dallas. 2.5 points for game and 1 point for the half. So, you know, as you guys know, like in our last plays we were doing, VIP plays that we were smashing at, is I had the Timberwolves in the first half and I had the Pacers to do well in the first half as well. And we outsmarted Vegas with that completely. Most of the public is usually on the full game money line or the full game spread. But hey, look, I knew that the Wolves were going to come out and punch them in the mouth at home in the first half. And I knew that the Pacers were going to come and punch them in the mouth at home in the first half. And both of those things happened perfectly. And we knew, like we did not think that they were blow an 18-point lead, but they ended up both blowing 18-point leads, the Pacers and the Wolves, and they both ended up losing at the end. So am I just really talented by locking in the first halves? Part of it is talent, part of it is just those teams choking in the final, the second halves, and we ended up cashing flawlessly. And now, as I said, we're on a 4-0 run on best bets. I have made thousands and thousands of dollars this week because I haven't lost. And I want to say this real quick. For the guys that talk about player props are on the side, guys, man. Like, if you see the big sports bettors making tons of money, they're rocking sportsbook plays like this. You don't see guys making millions of dollars or hundreds of thousands of dollars a game by betting on player props. And I like to bet on player props for fun while I'm like, this is the steak right here, right? This is the steak, the chicken, the salmon, the big T-bone, right? This is where you put the most amount of your money on. If I'm putting like $1,000, $1,500, $1,500, $1,000, sometimes $2,000, right, on the steak, okay, I'll get some potatoes on the side, which is my Anthony Edwards player prop. I'll get some mac and cheese on the side, right, which is my Rudy Gobert rebounds or whatever, and I'll throw like 0.25, not even half of a unit on those, because I don't trust the players more than I trust the teams. And as you can see with Jaden McDaniels last game in game 2 dropping only 2 points, right? You can't call that shit, man. You really can't call the players. They be getting injured all the time. Sometimes they play amazing and then the next game they don't even get the ball, almost like it's scripted, almost like it's rigged, almost like sometimes you feel like you missed by 0.5. It's for a reason. When they don't come in the whole entire fourth quarter and they start playing bench players, you can't beat that. But guys, we have a much better chance at winning if we're betting on the full teams or the outcomes of the game, rather than if a player is going to show up or even play the game, or the refs are going to put that player in foul trouble. So I say it all the time to my VIP clients, to my community, and I'll say it again. Rock player props to have fun watching the players play the game. But if you want to make money in sports betting, go for the meat. Put the most amount of your money on the meat. If I put $1,500 here, maybe on a two-man parlay on prizepicks or chalkboard, right, for player props, maybe I'll throw $50 on that. Maybe I'll make $150, $200, $300 if that cashes. But you guys get what I'm trying to say here. Make money. Like, stop betting on these crazy parlay player props. Like, because everything I give you guys for player props, not all of it is going to go that way. It's what I think would happen, but I'm much better at predicting the totals, okay, and the sides and the spreads. I'll just say that for what it is worth. All right. But hey, let's look at what some of the player props are up to today, guys, and then I'm going to put this video out. Make sure that you guys are in the Discord and everything. We're going to be live streaming today's game as well. Let's talk player props real quick. Let's talk player props for the Wolves. If you want the Wolves to win tonight, I think the Wolves do win tonight. I think that they pull this game out in Dallas. I think the Wolves do win tonight. I think it's what the NBA wants. I think they want to make a ton of more money. I think they want to make another $4 million at least in ticket sales for game number 4. I do think that they want to make that $40 million in ad revenue. So I do think the Wolves will win the game tonight. Don't hold me at the stake because they could choke a huge lead. But my VIP will have my best bet for the night on that game. If you want the Wolves to win, then Edwards and Karl-Anthony Towns have to go off tonight. They would both have to be over. Maybe rock them on different slips if you want to do player props. Karl-Anthony Towns was only 4 for 16 shooting and 1 for 5 in three-point shots in game number 2. He can easily get over 19.5 points in game 3 if he does something. And even doing that shitty performance last game, he still had about 15 points, and they benched him at one point. Here he is tonight. Throw him up on the screen for you guys to see. Like 15, 16. He's due for a bounce back. He played like dog shit in both games, and they're going to need him tonight. If the script is going to script, they need Karl-Anthony Towns tonight. Anthony Edwards, I would look for him to go over as well. I mean, he's just been going under consistently for the last 3 games. His line's at 20 and 25.5 tonight. Not too much else to say about it, but I'm probably going to rock him over tonight. I'm feeling good about Edwards in a very clutch, much-needed spot for him tonight. Mike Conley's on the injury report. Listen is questionable, but I expect him to play. McDaniels, he had 2 points last game, like we discussed. If you're going to play him, I'd say it. You got to play him over. He only got 6 shot attempts last game, and his line's always pretty low. So let's talk about Dallas, because I do like Dallas player props a little bit more. PJ Washington is just 2 for 12 from the three-point line in games 1 and 2. He's attempted 12 three-point shots in the first 2 games. He's had 35 three-pointers made in the playoffs, averaging 2.5 three-point shots made per game. He's made 2+ three-pointers in the last 8 of 9 games. Let's take a look at it. I do like PJ Washington tonight. I like him in three-pointers. I like him in points. Do with that knowledge as you will. But I do like PJ Washington to bounce back tonight and to go over his projected lines. And also his matchup is, usually Gobert. Don't be surprised if we see regression from Gobert here and we see Washington shine again. Let's talk about Derek Lively, the young guy who's come up in the postseason here and has been absolutely making a storm. He's getting a ton of minutes now. Derek Lively at PRA. I like his PRA. It's at 16.5 tonight. It's up 1 point from the last game when it was 15.5. I took him on my props, and we cashed for his PRA. He's getting more minutes, like I said, more than Daniel Gafford, and because Lively is 65% from the free throw line. Gafford's pretty trash from the free throw line, and Lively has the best plus and minus. Let's take a look at Lively real quick here. If you're going to play with his prop, I would definitely recommend PRAs. His PRAs is only 1 higher than his points and rebounds, and he's usually in here getting a few assists per game, so they just haven't caught up on the value for him yet. And I'm probably going to be rocking his prop until it gets up to around 19.5. I'll just keep sending the over on him for now. Daniel Gafford, he had 16 points, but he was 8 for 10 shooting. He can't shoot any better than that. His line's at 8 points tonight. He's had 8 or more, though, in every game in the postseason. I like to fade him, but normally, I would like to fade him tonight. But at 8 points isn't really low enough to fade him. So do with that knowledge as you will. If you like Gafford, lock him in. That's going to be the video for today, guys. If you appreciate the video, toss me a like, toss me a subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next one. Spence Locks out.